The adrenaline rush you get from looking at it is the same rush you get from driving it. Vintage cars are by far my favorite. I don't even like any of the new cars. You couldn't give me one if you tried.